grandson of Gaming on the ROX. I've gotten The Last of Us Part 2. I played it last week, a couple of weeks back. It took me about 29 hours to beat. And this is kind of my take, my review on the game. I know that it's probably not the best because it's not super edited, but I figured, just my voice alone, you watching some gameplay footage might be okay. This time probably without so much as the track of The Last of Us, will probably be turned on, but whatever. Before I even start, let me just make it very clear. I don't have nothing against the people who worked on this game. There's too much hate and negativity towards them. Yeah, we laugh out memes about what's happened, but that doesn't mean that, you actually hate any of the people who worked on it. The harassment towards Neil Druckmann, for real, and Laura Bailey is unacceptable, and I would never, ever, ever insult somebody. That said, I have problems with the game's narrative. And it's not because that I think that something is wrong with how the way it was presented. Well, it is actually with the context of the plot itself. And there's going to be some spoilers, by the way. I probably should put that in there. Yes, Joe dying made me mad. And I've seen the spoilers beforehand, but I want to see the context. But everything that kind of leads up to it just kind of... There's so much I want to talk about on that. Before I even get into the story, I do want to say, on a technical level, everything across the board is excellent. The gameplay is a hit or miss for people. If you played the first one, you love the gameplay. They refine it here with upgrade trees and weapon upgrades and everything like that. I love the gameplay. The gameplay is great. You get to do stealth. You have variable open-ended options. You can go in guns blazing. There's high risk, high reward. You can stealth it. You can lure them out. You can adjust the difficulty settings. The accessibility options are great for people who have blind and deaf, hearing impaired, seeing impaired. Excellent across the board. Excellent if you want to adjust the difficulty. There's an enhanced listening mode if you want to get all the collectibles, which I used. I customized the gameplay to what made me, get through the story since, I've seen the spoilers and everything like that. The animations are beautiful. Everything from how the way that Ellie might go up to a fire or Abby go up to a fire to feel the warmth of their hands, up to just the horses and the water. There's certain videos, man, that are so incredible that show the detail and immaculate time and energy that went into it. The music's excellent. The sound design, the guns, the animations of guns, when you put them on the table, I am actually just blown away by the gameplay, the music, the atmosphere, and that's the thing I liked about the first Last of Us. I feel like you were going through a journey. You could take kind of breathers. Even though this one was a darker, depressing one. Okay, so on a technical level, artistic, voice acting and acting is excellent. The writing is what I have a little bit of a problem with, but the writers still did a good job, even though there's some things I do not agree with. And I'm going to tell you how I would have done it in a constructive way. I'm not going to attack or name call because that's not the purpose of this video. So, going to the story. Pretty much what happens is Ellie and Dina are going on patrol. Jesse comes to get Ellie. They go off on patrol. Meanwhile, we meet up on a mysterious woman and guy who are some reason near Jacksonville. And it turns out Abby's on her revenge quest. She's trying to see if that's Joel and Tommy Miller. You kind of switch in between, you kind of go a little bit with Dina and Ellie, and you kind of figure out what the heck's happening there. You go into the outpost, and then you go back to Abby. You, as Abby, run up through the open space, snow landscape, and then there's literally a horde of zombies at you. You run through that, then you magically, well, not magically, but conveniently Especially disbelief kind of was there, but when I go back and think about it, it's kind of messed up. You meet up with Joe and Tommy. After a bit of a scuffle, Tommy introduces himself, him and Joe, to Abby. Abby lures them to the cabin. With, she found it, it was really convenient to lure them into a trap. Shoots Joe's leg, hits him in the club. Ellie sees, she's mad. So it's a 3D scramble through Seattle for Ellie to look for Abby. Towards the midway point of Ellie, you stop and then you switch your plans. Abby for those 3 days. And it gets very complex. It's a little bit more complex for Abby because she has to deal with things from the wolf's perspective. Meanwhile, Ellie's 3 days is just about revenge, kill, revenge. Then after when Abby's day, Abby meets up with some things. You meet Owen, you meet Mel, you meet some of these side characters. You meet up with Lev and Yara, who become more important as quote unquote Abby's redemption arc, which the writers granted to her. After that, you as Abby has a boss battle with Ellie. You win, quote unquote, but of course, before Abby's about to slit Dina's throat for her being pregnant, this is kind of a bridge version of the spoilers. Yev says stop, things stop, and this is when everything kind of goes. After like about 12, 20 hours, you get to this nice sequence where Ellie is with Jesse's baby born, and you taking care of it and walking around with it, with Dina and everything. You then look out around the house, the farmhouse. Later on, as Ellie, you have a PTSD moment where you still relive Joel's death and it bothers you. Then Tommy shows up the next day, tells Ellie that they have a lead on Abby because, since Ellie said no, respectfully, Tommy calls her out, which is BS. Then, this plot is just crazy, and I love it. Then we get to this point where Ellie makes a decision to just go ahead and say, bye, Dina. If you're not here by the time I get back, whatever. You go to Santa Barbara, there's a new group of enemies called the Rattlers that Ellie has to fight with. A little bit beforehand, though, you play as Abby and Lev, and for a little bit in Santa Barbara, and you get Abby gets captured by the Rattlers. Meanwhile, you as Ellie are going through the Rattler base, killing everybody affected and human-alike. You get to the final point. Abby and what's his name are strung up. Lev are strung up. So you have a final boss battle. You as Ellie say you're not going away. So you're actually fighting and everything, and just when you think you're about to get the sweet revenge on Abby, there's a sweet memory of Joel that comes back in flashback, and Ellie stops the killing. Then it goes back to the house. There's details I left out. During that last boss fight, you lost 2 fingers, can't play the guitar no more. And, Ellie thinks about the last memory about Joel, which is about forgiveness and empty, and that's pretty much it, man. Now, with that story and everything, my problem with it is how the way it was presented. To me, I kind of see why people get a little bit irritated, even though we understand the intentions of the artist, of the writers and what they want to give to us. Like, I intellectually understand what Neil Druckmann was going for, but there was problems. You only get to control Joel for 5 minutes, which I guess is a narrative point. Like, okay, say have your final goodbye, your walk of death or whatever, like, this is it, this is all the Joel you'll get, except through flashbacks through Ellie and stuff like that. Those flashbacks, I agree with everybody. Ellie's flashbacks, not Abby's, but Ellie's flashbacks are by far the best part of the game because it's still that relationship of Joel and Ellie. And I believe that what we needed was more of it was the relationship of Joel and Ellie. Yeah, we get some lore of the world in the first game, but Joel and Ellie's character building relationship was excellent. That's what people were striving for, what they loved about the game. And I can understand why they're so upset, because they never, that was something that they wanted. And it wasn't because of the safe route. At some point, we know you can't treat your audience as stupid. I'm not accusing the writers of that. Well, let me put it this way. The audience is intelligent. They know that Joel or Ellie or anybody could have died in that world. Hence, the rules of that world, the Master of Us universe. People could die, they set up camps, but there's some things here. Let me tell you the issues of the story I personally have. I would have liked that Abby had a closer relationship with Ellie, so it would have been a more impactful moment when she kills Joel. My suggestion: Ellie goes off somewhere, runs away from Joel because he told her the truth about the fireflies. Abby's out there searching on her own because she just, she went AWOL from the Wolf or the Washington Liberation Front. They meet. They bond for a couple of months. Joel finally finds Abby, whatever. And this is where you have a boss fight with Abby. You didn't know, oh no, you killed my father, something like that. Then we cut back to Abby's flashback. We understand what led up to point. Makes that a couple of hour campaign. And then, oh my goodness, you did not know the father was the surgeon that Joel killed. And then come to a resolution and end the game at that. The game is a little too long for my taste. It's fun, but it's so draining and depressing. I mean, granted that it's cool that, video games expression in that manner, so you get it, but the way Joe died didn't bother me. It's just the way they presented it. I understand in the logbook, you read the logbook there, and they say these events. Okay, this is what happened. People did this. People did that. We found some people outside the other day, took them in. So I guess Joel and them used to people that, who's the enemy? We humans or the infected? But, this is... Some people have criticized, we don't want to kill too much, we can't kill Joel, that's enough. And, we kill them, it's just going to be more bloodbath, They're trying to escape, trying to keep everything just to the way, I understand what they were trying to go for. Keep Ellie alive so you have purpose to go get your revenge, but it's a little bit confusing to me. Another point, one thing that made me really mad was, Mel is pregnant and she's in your party as Abby with Owen and the dog Alice as y'all fight off infected. The thing that makes me kind of mad is that, and I've researched this, they don't put pregnant women in combat. Now, granted, okay, this is the Last of Us universe. There's no such thing as military organizations, but if you're presenting Wolf as a military organization, wouldn't you think that she wouldn't be put on the front lines like that? So they get ambushed by the Scars or the Seraphites, and it just gets nasty and crazy from there. I mean, I had to stop playing for one moment. I came back and be it later, but I had to stop because I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why in the heck is she going out there with a pregnant child and everything like that? And some people have shown that, if it wasn't, before I even go to the left about the almost kill Dina scene real quick, my thing that I have a problem with is just Mel could have been a supportive role. Look, I'm not saying pregnant women are helpless, because they're not. But the fact you're carrying a child, it makes no sense to me. It's like, it's not saying you're weak, it's acting you so that child is okay. So Mel wasn't out here in combat and all that stuff. You know what I mean? She wouldn't have got killed by Ellie. It's... boy, I mean, I have so much to say because this game has made me... It's just made me... Ooh. But let's get into the next point. The point where Abby is about to kill Dina. Ellie says, "Oh, don't, she's pregnant." And she's like, "Good." And she's about to slit her throat. And then Lev is like, "No, Abby, don't." And Abby's like, "All right. Don't let me see you again." And it's like, okay. I mean, Lev was there to give Abby clarity. It's not like I didn't see her points. After she saved the children. You know, her father's there, and she got a good night's sleep. And the guilt, you know, the survivor's guilt of her dad, you know, not dying. You know, she gets relieved of that. But it seems like Ellie doesn't. I mean, I'll commend Neil Druckmann and his team for this. That, you know, they got these emotions out of me, and I guess that's their point. You know. Their point is life is not fair, but we've seen this in so many narratives before, either from movies, TV shows, something like that. Me, I watch a lot of anime, so I'm used to these themes of revenge is not good. You suffer for the consequences. You sacrifice yourself for the greater good. You know, put all the sin on me so no one else. You know, and I get it. You know, at the end of the day, fine. You know, Ellie loses everything, but then she might get something better, which. You know, if they could do that in the next game, Ellie gets something better after losing everything, I'll be okay with this game if they're transitioning to that. But as far as I can tell for right now, gameplay standpoint, like I said, Ellie and Abby are fun to play as. And I enjoy the game's locations and stuff like that. But when I'm playing a game, then you have to go back to the story, which is very dark and depressing. It's just... my mind is just kind of like, okay, why? So, all in all, gameplay, you murdering everybody is fun, but then when you get back to the story, you're supposed to feel something? I mean, it depends on that. Like, I understand when the torturing scene with Nora, Ellie was visually shaken up. But then Abby, she's like, good. But then I think... I'll give my score in just a second, but I think I know what they're trying to get at. Ellie is just a survivor trying to survive everything. She had to learn from the ground up. She had no choice but to live in this post-apocalyptic future. And then with Abby, you know, I get it. She's military, so she's kind of built for this. So she's gonna do what she's gotta do. Okay, I mean, you know, Abby, you know, she's military, she's gonna get a little bit upset, but she's not gonna show as much remorse, because that's, you know, the price of war, you know. And then, I think someone did say one of these reviews, I remember, but, you know, if a soldier's out there on the front lines, how bad do you feel for them if they, but if they signed up for that, how bad could you feel for those soldiers and knowing that that's, But it's so convoluted. The Last of Us 2, I will give it this. It brings up a brilliant, it's brilliant for discussing themes of this, or topics, themes of this nature, of right versus wrong. Is there no heroes of this? Everyone's a hero of their own story. Or we love Joel. We don't think he did anything bad to where he is a villain, or you get to play as a new villain, and it's... My final score for this game is a 7 out of 10. Now, gameplay on a technical level, everything about that is excellent. And you would probably think, well, shouldn't you give the story? Shouldn't this be a 10 out of 10 and you getting a story to talk to you like that? Yes and no, because you did promise you get some, you get some more Joel and Ellie relationship, but it was done through flashbacks. The second game should have been either about Joel and Ellie's relationship and how they have to rectify that, or do a Abby and Lev and like, where's Joel and Ellie, and just have it their game, and then go to the third game where Joel obviously dies, or there's some I feel like, in a weird way, I feel kind of happy but a little disappointed. I feel like we got 2 games in one, but it's high risk, high reward. So I did buy this game for the PlayStation Store, if you guys are wondering. I did enjoy it for what it is, but I honestly can't... It could have been a 6 because I was mad at the story, but I had to reconsider and just not be that harsh. I'm not mad that Joe died. I'm mad at Abby. I'm not mad at the people who written the story or voice acted and did the music. No. The content of the story itself made me upset. Like, why did Joe have to do that? I was feeling let's get these get these suckers and get them done, But yeah, it has to be a 7 out of 10, guys. I'm sorry. It's a good game. It's not broken, but the story, the replayability, it's the replayability that bumped it up a point, pretty much. It had to be at least a 7 out of 10, but that's my final score. thank you for joining me for Gaming on the Rocks. Share this video around if you want to. I love and appreciate you guys. I know it's been a while for this type of content on Gaming on the Rocks and then here on TLZ Online as well. So, anyways, guys,